So Harper is a little bit territorial about her yard. She has an electric fence, so there's no fence line there. But when people walk by, she reacts. Can you go ahead and come by? And can you like yell real quick? Normally she would be running there to chase. Because we're using a leash, even though the leash just by itself, by somebody holding it, is preventing her from doing anything. All right, so if you can go a couple more steps, and then wait right there if you could. So I'm going to introduce a concept called counterconditioning. Counterconditioning is basically a process where we expose the dog to a stimulus, in this case a passersby, at a controlled situation and a low intensity, so we help the dog have a positive association. Now again, for her, I think she's thinking that her job is to be in charge of security. Sit. 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 So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these tricky trainers that I use. I got a pocket full of them. Now I want to have the dog on a leash so the dog can't run around. Just like us, the more the dog wanders around, the more worked up it's going to get. So what I'm going to do is have her come here. I want her facing the direction that people are going to come. Now if you can kind of shoot this a little bit, we have some shrubs that are obscuring the people. So we have a window from here to here where the dog can see. So I'm going to put the dog into a sit, because sitting is a more subordinate position. I'm going to grab the treat between my thumb and forefinger like this, and I'm going to let her nibble on it while I orientate her looking at these people. Now, the two tests are, can I get my dog to sit, and can I get her to take the treat? If she won't sit, or she's looking around the treat, then it's too close to the people, and then we would back up a couple of steps. You want to back up far enough away so that this doesn't perceive as a threat, so she can stay sitting, and then we can deliver a positive reinforcer. Now, if we do this, eventually what she's going to associate is when people walk by, I get high-value treats. Can we get the parade to come down this street real quick? So, all right, give me 1 sec, and when I say okay, if you can just walk by, and if you guys can kind of like skip and kind of make a little bit of noise as you're walking, right when you pass, come into view. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to start offering the dog the treat before she's going to see anybody. Okay. So I can sit. I can orientate the dog whichever direction I want by moving her up. All right, can you come back? So it's important to keep the tension off the leash. So she's looking at them, but not reacting to them. So now after we do this once or twice, we're going to take another step or two closer, maybe 1 or 2 steps at a time. Sit. Okay, can we try that again? So instead of reacting and lunging, she's able to watch them go by because now she's more preoccupied by getting the treat. So here's the point that most people fail. They keep on collapsing the distance until the dog erupts. So when the dog won't sit down or has problems taking the treat, that's when we know we're getting to the dog's breaking point, and at that point we stop. We have the people go away, and then we walk away and the treats go away. So this way she starts to associate, and then and let's say that we're stopped here. Well, let's say we're going to pick this up and practice this again in an hour. Maybe you start 1 step behind where you were. Come here. Sit. And just orientate her while they're walking by. Eventually you're going to get to the point where you're going to be right at the electric fence line, and she's going to watch them go by and have no interest. Now this is counterconditioning is a longer process. It takes more time to accomplish, but when you do this will be a permanent solution. She won't be like this. Now, some people want their dog to be a security guard. This is not the good technique to use if you want your dog to do that sort of thing. But again, if somebody breaks in your house, the dog's going to pick up on that and they're going to act a little bit differently. But this is something that shouldn't take you longer than maybe a couple, depending on how many times you do it. But make sure it's just a short iteration, and then afterwards, make sure the dog has a recovery period. If possible, some playtime. Maybe we play ball, play a little fetch, we throw the frisbee, whatever. And then, so the dog, we always want to end on a positive repetition, and then have the dog have a positive association. Not only do we stop on a positive, but then we played a little bit. I got a massage afterwards, so I really like this activity. But again, just keep on doing it. You might have to do it with different handlers in the family. The handler isn't so much the issue as it is just associating a positive attribute to the people that are coming by in the form of these tricky trainers. Sit. So that's how we do a little counter conditioning.